Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and video game collecting got a new lease on life. With the announcement of the Switch 2 and the fact that they're going to be investing in physical cartridges, not only physical cartridges for the Switch 2, but also Switch 2 edition cartridges for games that were released on the original Switch. It lets me know that physical collecting is going to be here to stay for some time. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens when Sony announces its next console, which we probably won't see for a good number of years. But it's safe to say that once the Switch 2 releases, that will be the console that we roll with for at least the next 7 to 8 years, because I feel like we've been on a 7 to 8 year run with the current Switch that we have now. Like, I don't really count the OLED model as a new console. I just view it as an upgrade to the original. Whereas the Switch 2 is in fact a completely different console, completely different docking station. It has its own game card. It's just a new system. So I think with this announcement, physical collecting is going to be here to stay for some time. And what does that mean, right? What does that mean for collectors, and what does it mean for collectors today and in the future? Well, one of the things that we've been hearing in the collecting community is that physical is dead. And this is not the entire community, right? Because you have two camps. You have the emulation camp and you have the physical camp. And a lot of what we've been hearing out of the emulation camp is the idea that physical game collecting is dying, physical game collecting is dead, it's going away. A lot of the arguments that we've heard is, the fact that games that are coming out today on like PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and even Switch in some cases aren't complete. They're very buggy, and they require a large amount of patches and updates in order to fix the game and make it playable, or at least make it playable in its best form, right? So, that has caused, that great divide where you have a lot of folks who have kind of fallen away from physical game collecting, and they've kind of said to themselves, emulation is the way. We're going to emulate. Physical collecting is stupid. No one does it anymore. Well, when you have a company like Nintendo investing in physical video games, that means that kids of today and 10 years from now, a lot of them will be collecting these physical games. A lot of them will be buying these games physically, which means there is still going to be a need for either brick and mortar stores that carry these games, or at least an online source where you can buy these games physically and have them shipped to you. I think when it comes to things physical, though, brick and mortar is one of the better ways to go, because people like to see what they're buying, hold it in their hand. But I think that this move by Nintendo definitely, indicates that collecting will be around for quite some time. And so as a collector myself, it makes me think about what I'm collecting, where I should put my focus, and how I should maneuver the game collecting scene. And, GameStop is still running their 4 under 20 for 40. And I didn't realize it, but they also have their 4 under 10 for 20 at the same time. And I've recently had the opportunity to run inside a GameStop and pick up some more retro games. This copy of B-Boy was a game that I picked up. I had never heard of this game, but it looked super interesting. It gave me Def Jam Vendetta or like Def Jam Fight for New York vibes. I don't know why. But it is basically a breakdancing battle game. I've never really heard of that. And this is just one of the reasons why PlayStation 2 was so unique, because a breakdance battle game in this format, I mean, it's very interesting. They also had a copy of Onimusha 2, Ultra Street Fighter 4, Tetris 2, and then of course the game that I've been trying to get back into my collection for a while, ever since I traded away last year. Immediately once I traded this game away, I regretted it. But I was really glad because this copy that I added back to the collection is near mint. I mean, has everything in it, and there's only one Mario Kart Wii. I don't think you can play that anywhere else other than the Wii. And honestly, Mario Kart Wii is like right up there when it comes to my favorite Mario Kart games. I know a lot of people revere Double Dash, and obviously Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the best, but I would have to put Mario Kart Wii like right underneath it. It still is one of the best Mario Kart games in my opinion. I say Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Kart Wii, then maybe Double Dash. Um, but I'll let you guys debate that down in the comments. Um, Obviously, Mario Kart World is coming out for the Switch 2. That's going to be, that's going to take Mario Kart to a whole new level. I'm excited to play that one as a fan of the Mario Kart genre. But all in all, I think that, for me, when it comes to the games that I'm collecting, I feel like, and I told myself that this year was going to be more Switch focused, but it really hasn't been. I've tried to get into collecting more and more Switch games, but I find myself only wanting certain Switch games. Like I'm not trying to buy everything, and I'm definitely not trying to buy the AAA titles. Not now. I don't want to buy AAA titles when they're at their most expensive. I really want to wait. I'm trying to wait for sales. And when it comes to the Switch, I think a lot of my shopping for that console is really going to occur during, the holidays when I'm able to get things for 15, 20, 25, 50% off. That's really how I'm going to have to shop for the Switch because these games are going to be around for quite some time. And I don't think there's a rush to pick up Switch games at this point. Now, I did see, and I'm super excited about this, but I did see that there's an amazing Sega Saturn game coming to the Switch via limited run. For those of you who know, I'm a huge shoot 'em up fan, but that game is Batsugan. So I am stoked. Batsugan, I think it's already released overseas. I think PlayAsia has probably released their version of it, but Limited Run is going to be releasing a copy of Batsugan on the Switch, and that is one of the best arcade shoot 'em ups on the Sega Saturn. So I'm really stoked about that. Also, the Marvel Cosmic, I think it's Marvel Cosmic Universe. That's also a 2D sprite-based game coming out. We all know about the Terminator 2 game. We all know about the Shinobi and the Ninja Gaiden 2D sprite-based games coming out on the Switch. And that's really where my focus is going to be for the Switch. I'm just waiting for these games to release, and I'm waiting for them to release on sale. But the Switch is definitely helping to continue the physical collecting hobby. Just for me, I'm going to be real peculiar with those Switch games. And if I, as I do continue to curate my collection, I probably will continue to focus on curating my collection to add in some of those harder to find, harder to reach retro games while adding some of the more obscure Switch and Switch 2 games. I think that's what my collection is going to be made up of. I don't need to have every single game in my collection. I don't need to complete sets. But I do feel like I want to have the stuff that I think will be harder to find or harder to get 10, 15, 20 years from now. So that will be the focus. That will definitely be the focus. Like I said, I've been able to utilize GameStop's promotions to pretty much stock up on trade bait and use that trade bait to get these more grailed items when they do pop up, because the general public isn't going to care about retro right now. It's all about the Switch. It's all about the Switch 2. It's all about getting Switch games. And that's great for me because that means if I get my hands on one, I should be able to trade for some more retro stuff. So it's going to be a weird second quarter for me. Waiting for a lot of really good Switch games to come out. When those come out, those are the games that I will pick up, but I'm not going to go too Switch crazy yet. But let me know what you guys think just about the collecting scene. I woke up and I had this thought about the whole collecting genre, what the Switch 2 having physical games will mean for collectors, and knowing that, is there a rush to buy Switch games, or do you think that there's a longer runway to pick up Switch games and it makes more sense to find and add those harder to find, harder to reach games to your collection now? Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.